Hello, and welcome to my presentation of the 7 Miracles of Light. I will be reading and commenting on material I wrote in the 1990s and published in Temple Doors, issue number 1, 1990. The 7 miracles of light, as Thoth defines them, are the insertions of grace that will be brought into the subtle corporeal bodies of those who have chosen ascension. They will be fully activated by the radiant masters through the Orahim vehicles of light in the final stage of the LP 40 ascension. That's Light Principle 40. However, those who now choose to move into the path of future ascension will begin to activate the consciousness of the miracles within their bodies through their desire and intention to do so, and by calling upon the angelic command to assist them. I might add here, this doesn't mean that one has to know about what I'm writing here, what I'm speaking about here in these terms and the words that are used and all of that, but they have to live the energy. It's all about energy, and we put definitions to them. I'm putting definitions to them here with Thoth's overview, and but it's not, it's not a matter of a belief system. It's a matter of energy, pure energy, and one's intention to align to the balance of the universe. To continue, through this article, we will bring forth information from Thoth on the 7 miracles of light, which has appeared in past issues of Temple Doors, with some current commentary as an update by Thoth. From the Temple Doors issue 1, 1990, the 7 miracles of light are energetically represented as the hosts or wafers of communion, as they come together to form the body of Christ. These hosts can also be seen as living stones, for they are concordant with Christed flesh, which is the body of man risen in the fire of eternal life. In the body of Christ, we touch the light supernal in the 7 miracles of light, and their sacred symbols or modes of consciousness. Thus we must enter the field of grace. We must come to the perfect mirror or reflection of our highest nature. We are to look into it as a crystal gazer would look into the future, and for that moment, so we become imbued with the vestments of that future. Thoth in 1997, the 7 miracles of light grace the sacred tree of the Yohanin, the universal state of Yohanin consciousness, as star apples suspended at the center of the grove. As divine virtues, they are to be assumed into the subtle and physical bodies of the initiate as 7 layers or mantles of superlate, meaning beyond the lesser nature or lesser state substance. As the individual aligns their subtle physical bodies to the pure gem of the newer star creation, so the 7 mantles of substance become the flesh of Christed consciousness. In 1990, the archangelic being Mercuriel spoke these words to me. The 7 symbols of light. So he made you, humanity, fishers of men. I come to make of you star fishers, to quicken the spirits of gods within as lively stones, mercy stones of the heavens, and restore the sword near the seat of the throne. You will be given the communion of his body through the 7 miracles of light, so that his way will be known to you beyond the mortal banking of fires. Herewith are before you the 7 symbols of light representing the 7 miracles. Now, these are the symbol sets that were given to me: the dragon and the sword, the word in man, the way in the stag, the fire in the stone, the lamp in the mirror, and the lady in the lake. Now, let us pause for a moment and imagine, if we will, Thoth and his Merkaba, that he calls Chariot of the Sun, sitting around the table and saying, well, let's see now, we need to convey this really high spiritual dynamic to our first graders. So let's put it into terms that our first graders can understand and be able to absorb, at least in a sense of essence, so that they can better imbue the qualities that are coming from this high streaming constant. And so we are the first graders. Of course, I'm just making up that little picture there, but in essence, I believe it's true, that the ultra beings, the higher ones, they have to give us things in terminology that we can understand and begin to receive and accept. And so we have these symbol sets. Thoth later gave an archetypal correlation for each of the miracles using one of the cards in Rowena P. Kreider's Gaia Matrix Oracle as well. In addition, we have the chakra, which resonates most closely with the consciousness of the particular miracle of light. Please understand that the consciousness of that miracle is not limited to the listed chakra for its realization or expression, but simply finds its point of greatest resonance there for most individuals. And so we begin from information I placed into Temple Doors 290, the dragon in the sword, first chakra. Thoth, the Grail Mother carries the solvent of the heart of the dragon, which is the fiery being transmuted to love, and the sword of divine mind, the intellect mastered by spirit. From the primal sea of the molten corpus, body of fire, which humanity possessed in its world creation phase, comes the tempered sword of cool strength that harbors the glinting flame of spiritual mastery. The dragon is awakened in the center of the sword consciousness, so that it can once again bring to man woman the body of illumined fire held within the balance of Alpha and Omega. The Grail Matrix is Grail Mother, Heart, Mind. I must turn a page now. The Word in Man, fifth chakra. Thoth. The cosmic body is the Word in man. It carries forward the universal condition of becoming. It is the command of creation within humanity, for it incorporates the light cells of the God-Goddess organism consciousness within and into the structure of human life. The Gaia Matrix is Black Buffalo, cosmic body. The Way in the Stag, third chakra. Thoth. Like the antlers of the stag, the power of Eagle Crooked Path is cutting across the abyss of unformed consciousness and penetrating and fertilizing the corporeal reality. There is the regality of the stag whose presence is authority within the supreme knowledge of responsibility for that which is within your inheritance to acknowledge and to secure for eternity. It is the way home, the path we all seek so that we may become filled with purpose. Without sight of the forest, our natal consciousness, we cannot resurrect those first moments within that must abide with the last. The Gaia Matrix is Eagle Crooked Path, resurrection of the soul. The fire in the stone, second chakra. Thoth, From the Ancient of Days, the formation of matter strikes the stone of immortality. That which abides in matter must come to dust, yet that dust is destined to become infinite light. The fire of this light is forever present in the seemingly inert stone of mortality. The Gaia Matrix, Old Earth, Formative World, Natural Evolution. The Key in the Rose, Fourth Chakra. Thoth. The rose of divine body is the Christic petaled emanation of perfection and light. Within its tender yet complete embrace rests the key of eternity. It is this aspect of gnosis which releases bondage to the thorn, karma, in order to receive the spiritual body of your true self. It is the new earth of spirit toward which we are impelled. Unlike unto the liken unto the photosynthesis of a flower, we must follow the light pearls of our atmosphere, which in turn entrances the spectrum of the universe that spirals about the thrones of the living lights, the angelic kingdoms, whose nebulas configure about the sacred center. Gaia Matrix, New Earth, Spiritual World, Spiritual Realization. The Lamp in the Mirror, Sixth Chakra. Thoth. The lamp of service is lifted by the threshold of freedom as the Lady of Liberty, Virgin, awaits the Son of Man, child. The illumination of this light is seen in the mirror of Akashic reflection, wherein humanity may enter to fathom his/her own reverberations of being through time. By joining these essences of self together, the 144,000 Enochian master number, as a strand of pearls, man-woman creates purity from the friction of time against the shore of matter. Likened unto the 7 virgins, the oil in the lamps is that crucial solvent found within self-knowledge. From this clear sight comes the ecstasy of divine birth, the lesser self giving birth to the greater self, who in the continual scheme of things is the original mother of the lesser self. Gaia Matrix, Virgin, Child, Pure Illumination. Lady in the Lake, 7th Chakra. Thoth. The Lady in the Lake is the intuitive power of etheric consciousness rising up to claim its sovereignty in the divine mind inherited through the crystalline DNA helix, which has the capability to transfer light-engendered entrainment from one social consciousness to another, outside the process of physical generation. This is the science of paragenetics. It completes through the exchange of energies between the subtle bodies, not by copulation, but through the frictionless dance of light harmonics, as being responds to its own quantum of grace and freedom in multiplicity, ad infinitum. Gaia Matrix, Synarchy, Social Harmony. And now from the New Age Bible Interpretations, New Testament, Volume 5, we're quoting, or Helene Kreen, who wrote this volume, is quoting from the Book of Pymander, allegedly written by Thoth. And I believe that although Thoth never physically wrote these things by hand and placed them into the Akasha, and then they were translated by those who could read the Akasha, that's how his works became known, through his scribes that entered the Akasha and received them back again. So one might say that this particular quote comes from that Akashic inscription. Nature, being commingled with man, brought forth a wondrous miracle, harmonious commingling of the essence of seven and her own through fire or spirit. Herein lies the mystic code of the initiate. The entire Gospel of John, as an initiatory study, follows this mystic code. Thoth has given us the 7 miracles of light as living principles. First miracle, resolution of all separation through the harmonic of love. Second miracle, acceptance of all aspects of self and thus release of the mind into the gnosis of holy accord. For so long as no attachments remain within the self, thought is free to become pure knowing. Third miracle, through the unification of desire and will within the flame of spirit, so service to the divine is ignited in the heart and mind. Thus the desire to serve and the will to serve are so complete, no other path exists for the servant of light. Fourth miracle, embrace of all half-light or oratronic, fallen consciousness as a movement of completion within the soul. In this movement, the fallen is transformed into the resurrected. Fifth miracle, joyous living within the moment, while all of the past and future is free to evolve within you. This is an indication that we are evolving outside our linear time. Yes, there's an aspect of us dragging our feet in the linear time wave, but we're really, the greater part of our evolution is evolving outside that time, that linear time, and thus we're able to change the past as well as the future. Not particularly in very dramatic ways to our understanding, because we put faces on things that we have created in the past, but the actual energy forms can be changed in this manner and are changed. Sixth miracle, realization that you are at the center of a universal dance. You are the creator of a pageant of celebration that unfolds through your synergy with other souls, whose central dance is ever unfolding as is yours. Seventh miracle, becoming invisible to and yet interactive with the outer world. That one is very, very powerful because, especially now, because we are being asked at this time more than ever to not become distracted, to not put ourselves out in a way that allows us to become inured to some uh, limited path or negativity or fear. And yet, at the same time, it is important to become interactive with the outer world. So this is the balance that must be struck. And it's interesting that the very seventh miracle is where we find ourselves implicitly at this time. If any one of these 7 principles is completely mastered by the soul, the rest become self-revealed within that one moment. This is addressing the quantum field that we enter into when we are working with the 7 miracles of light. Up to this point, we have been referring to the seven miracles of light primarily as archetypes and as pure consciousness potential. But now we are going to be looking at them from the standpoint of what will happen leading up to and at the time of ascension, when these pure consciousness expressions are brought into integration with the physical and etheric bodies. While we are working diligently to integrate higher consciousness into our physical beingness now, and will continue to do so right up to the ascension, Thoth indicates that the consciousness of the seven miracles of light, that the consciousness the seven miracles of light represent, may not be physically integrated at that level before the LP40 ascension process gets underway. However, now I'm going to have to turn a page. However, some souls will fully form the light body mandala prior to ascension, and some very few will actually take the ascension before the rest of the planet as well. From Temple Doors, issue 290. The Imstra is the molecule of light that is being sent through the Metatronic spiral, built as a house of light from the miracles of light, to become an etheric molecule in the DNA RNA helix of humanity. This is the molecule of the Christ body within us, being brought into manifestation within our matter body. The geometric for the Imstra is a double octahedron. With the doubling of the octahedron, two octahedrons touching at the one each of their main axis apices. Okay, well, I'm not even going to try to say that again. A centrifying axis is created at the juncture, this being the actual seed dynamic of the molecule, the grail of the body's questing for the light communion. It is at the center of the Imstra that the consummation of light and matter abides. It is from the Imstra that we will build our lighted house through the light molecules infusion into our blood. From this transformation will arise the sapphire, which is SAF-FIRE, which is the sapphire, SAPPHIRE, blood of angels within the daughters of men. Thoth in 1997. The seven miracles of light are the grace interface between the imperfect flesh and the radiant flesh. Thus, as the imperfect begins to know the rarefied consciousness of God, so the miracles of light bridge the chasm between the two, lifting the pain of that knowledge from both the subtle bodies and the cells. As the human body receives the Imstra, so the light body mandala will begin to form, which will create radiant sheaths of light composed of the miracle flesh. The Dovine mantle is a consciousness precursor of this body of Christ. The Dovine mantle is elaborated upon in my written material of the 1990s and my more recent video series on the 11th gate of the star, which can be found in the Kira portal. Following, we give you the different aspects of the light body mandala, which the seven miracles of light will generate within the subtle bodies and cellular grids. Understand that the numbering of these stages is not meant to correspond with the seven miracles of light. However, the mathematic of seven is resonant. The flowering of the heart, a budding movement of spirit in the heart that overcomes all mental prisms and expands to embrace pure knowing. It will unfold as a rose lotus in the center of the heart ascension. The soaring of the mind. an experience of ecstasy within the mind which frees and uplifts the thought on exalted wings of light. This will manifest as two light wings or waves emanating from either side of the pineal gland and extending out from the head like the winged helmet of Mercury. The formation of two whirls of light energy. These will come together in the solar plexus, from whence they will extend to the third eye, one whirl, and to the base chakra, the other whirl. These are called Korpala, the twin flames of life and resurrection. They represent the perpetuation of eternal life, firing the body as it becomes one with the soul. A star tetrahedron surrounding the human form. This will infuse one's whole being with the Merkaba of Ascension dynamics. This is fired from the center point of the Korpala and is part of the Ein Anda, Urtet Teched dynamic covered later in this presentation. And from now on, I'm not going to say that word, I'm going to say Ein, because I can't pronounce it. The manifestation of the Grail cup in the throat. This is an expression of the Word of God in the body of man. This dynamic also spawns an infinity 8 loop or lemniscate above the crown chakra. Inscriptions of the divine flame letters of generation. These inscriptions will link the individual to his/her creation star and resonant angelic races, and will be given in the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. This encoding creates a conic spiral wave geometry from the hands that spiral into the planet between the feet and connects into the Holy of Holies at the center of the earth. From the point where the flow from the hands enters the planet between the feet, two golden mean spirals move upward like ripples on the surface of a still pond as the stone strikes it, linking just above the crown chakra into the lemniscate formed in the previous stage. The formation of a pallet of rainbow transducers. These are formed in the shape of an inverted triangle extending from the third eye with the point touching the nasal opening into the throat. Resonating above this pallet at the third eye level is a circle of light surrounding the head as a halo. This circle contains the free-flowing integration of the pallet's light codes generated through the crown chakra. Once the miracles are activated within the physical body, the full expression of the Techad is enabled in the higher dynamic of the holistic system. Once this occurs, the Techad then becomes the capstone to the 7 miracles of light, in fact forming the 8th and 9th miracles of light. The 8th octave, and also miracle, but I felt guided here to call it an octave. The formation of synchronistic rhythm throughout the Corpus Christi, created by the 7 miracles of light. This is the light pulse of divine coalescence through which the living corpus arises. 9th octave, the complete pattern of the Christosophos, which is the uncrucified Christic body, containing the rarefied sapphire blood. The sapphire blood springs forth from the fountain of the Grail in the heart of man, crystallizing the cells of his fortune. These cells become bright, perfect branches of frozen crystalline light, each a microcosm of the new heaven and earth, each one like a temple unto itself. This strikes me because I have seen these creatures, these frozen light beings, crystalline light beings, and I did not see them in the Akasha or with my third eye. I saw them in a microscope. Some 6 or 7 years ago, my colleague here in Crestone, William Bueller, who has recently transitioned, began having his blood tested here by someone who's a homeopathic person. And to the tester's amazement, Bill had these crystalline things in his blood. And he said he'd never seen anything like that before. Maybe he said one time, long time ago, he saw it once, and that was it. And so Bill continued to have his blood tested, and these crystalline things continued to show up and in different forms. So then some of his synergy group that he worked with, all persons that were with him for years working with these energies, came and had their blood tested, and they had the crystals as well. And then, as years progressed, this homeopathic tester started finding the crystals in other people's blood. He tests blood all over the world, and he was finding it popping up, not in everybody, but here and there, it was starting to show up in other places. And then I moved back to Crestone, and I had my blood tested, and lo and behold, I had those little crystal critters as well. And the interesting thing about it is I went back several times to have my blood tested through a year's period of time. And Bill and Edie also had theirs done along with me. We all went together to have this done. It was just amazing how these creatures changed shape, and yet the shape in Bill's was usually the shape in mine and Edie's. Sometimes they were different, but very often the shape that was changed in each of us, or at least two of us. So as I read this, it comes to me very clearly that this is the formation of these crystalline beings. It doesn't mean that, that we are the ones that have it only. No, it is forming in those who are working with these energies on the planet. And as this occurs and more people connect to their light body work in humanity and in the cosmos, they're going to start having these crystalline beings form in their blood. And then more recently, last year, Thoth alerted me to the creation of the Christosophara elixir, which he had me, mix a few little sacred oils together, nothing fancy, and put it on the altar. And then it was charged with the Christosophara, which is connecting to many things. I won't go into all of that. I have this on my websites. So it seems to be a development, a further process of all of this. And let me turn a page again. Oh, I did not read something that I should have read, so I'm going to go back to the 8th octave. So let's go back to the 8th octave, the formulation of synchronistic rhythm through the Corpus Christi created by the 7 miracles of light. This is the light pulse of divine coalescence through which the living corpus arises. And then Thoth says of this, as the rhythm of Christic celebration spills forth from the grail, or the harmonics of virtue, so it presents its sacred passage through the sacrifice of its old form in the recalibration of logos to achieve pure image consciousness. Herein is the truth of one's totality. It is your face in the mirror of the eye of God. Through the synergistic unity of the 7 is transposed the image of Christ upon the death shroud of the old earth consciousness. From this passage, the new earth is quickened within the matrix of radiant rebirth. The Gaia matrix corollary is white buffalo, confession, opening, passage, and truth. And so now we go back to the 9th octave, which I just read you, about the sapphire blood. I'm trying to turn the page here sort of unsuccessfully. Is this it? Yes. Excuse me. Here we go. So, Thoth's statement on this particular. From the inheritance of the sapphire blood, the elixir of the living lights, the angelic realm, so humanity sups at the table of their divinity upon which the grail rests, and from which they consume the graces of the angelic kingdom. It is from this communion that the sacraments of the cup and hosts, the 7 miracles of light, are taken into the body of man, transfiguring it into the light body of kingly making. And the Gaia matrix for this is blue pharaoh, light body, remembering, fearless, gathering, and essence. So, the Teched or Isis eye within the physical form actually has 2 components, which are formed by the eighth and ninth miracles of light. Before the Teched, and thus the capstone, including the 8th and ninth miracles of light, can be overlaid upon the body, first the 7 miracles must be integrated and the star tetrahedron must be completely formed, yet it does not necessarily have to be activated before the Teched is put into place. The star tetrahedron is actually to become the eye of the Isis eye, but not until the Teched overlay is accomplished. It is the seed sapling upon which the Teched can be grafted. I'm going to pause for a moment. The Isis eye, Thoth also calls the Areopax, and this is something that is the core to the whole Mysterium teachings that I put forth from the Thoth Akasha. I won't go into great detail on that because it is a complex subject, but basically it is the nodal frequency and the stability vector for all portals. Portals within the body, portals within the earth, portals within the cosmos, portals within everything. And it has the ability to change shape as it flies, as it flutters. The geometry will change shape. There's a specific shape that is its platform, shall we say, but it moves in and out of that platform to perform various functions. And one of these functions is the Teched. So, to continue. The first phase development of the star tetrahedron around the body is the Ein. Remember that word I can't pronounce. This star tetrahedron is the same as the one which is formed from the Star of David placed around the body, which is then boosted into the star tetrahedron through the introduction of a vertical vibrational waveform by the Masters of Light. The Ein is formed at the point of the solar plexus where the Korpala, or 2 whirls of light, meet in stage 3 of the light body mandalas formation given previously. Yet it is not formed there completely until all 7 miracles are in place within the body. Once the streaming of the tongues of the dove, or divine flame codes of the sun spirit, are activated within the 4444 Stargate dynamic of the physical ascension process, these flame codes will penetrate the Ein star tetrahedron and move into the rose lotus of the heart, and from there throughout all other centers of the body. As the entire body becomes suffused with the tongues of the dove, the left hand of Yahweh will spin in the 7 chakras and then become the right hand of Yahweh. This hand is the greater godness template of master control within the fallen counterpart of the Adam Kadmon. In its left position, it establishes frequency and pattern within that fallen zone in order to protect and enliven the seed of God. In its right position, it breaks the pattern free to rejoin the full continuum, and in doing so, reestablishes the proper communication with the complete Adam Kadmon template. In the center of each hand is a human-looking eye. As the left hand spins and becomes the right hand, there is a moment where these 2 eyes where there are 2 eyes instead of one. A bifocal point has been achieved. Then, as the spin continues and quickens, the left eye becomes the right eye. Within the bifocalized moment, the pattern of light in matter is free to choose its direction. If it chooses the right-hand path, so it moves completely into the right-hand activation. If it chooses the left-hand path, it will fall back when the right hand appears and be transported to a lower evolution than it was in previously. This is the key dynamic of the ascension that will determine which souls will be taken up and which will be left behind. This is the point where things can get really interesting. Thoth indicates that even though a soul may have chosen ascension from the level of their higher self, that in the moment of bifocalization, the soul can potentially choose to not go via choosing the left-hand path. Likewise, there can be souls who were the sleepers and walkers, who might in the last moment have that deep inner insight that allows them to be moved into position for the ascension. And if they choose the right-hand path, they go into the newer star. Even here, however, these souls must have some level of light body formation and have some of the 7 miracles of light partially inherent in their cellular and etheric grids in order for the masters, angelics, and other souls coming back through the 4444 Stargate after completing their own ascension to be able to assist them through the portal. For those who quicken to ascension at the final hour, there will be tremendous assistance and many grace factors given to help them catch up in an instant with the portion of the 7 miracles of light they haven't yet integrated, so they can generate the light body mandala to a high enough degree that the Ain Utet Teched dynamic can be completed. While some of these peripheral occurrences will be relatively rare, it must be stated that the possibilities do exist. Now, before I continue, let's go back to some of this about the right hand and the left hand, first of all. The left hand path is one that keeps us in the flow here on Earth. It protects us to a degree and helps us to align, to synchronize, to absorb the nutrients of this world to the highest degree possible for our current evolutionary pattern. With, the karmic factors weighed into that. Without the properties of what Thoth is calling the left-hand path, we would literally be swung into outer space. And I don't necessarily mean our physical bodies, although that's possible too, but our whole essence and being and consciousness. We have to have a collective envelope that helps us to organize and stay secure. That is the left-hand path. However, when we reach the point where we need to be born into the newer star, the contractions begin. And it says the womb is no longer where you can be anymore. You have to go out into the world. And those contractions take us out into the world. And that is when we have to break the membrane, the placenta, and move through the passage, through the right-hand path. We have to leave behind the securities of the left-hand path. And that's where some souls may have some difficulty. Now, I think all souls, not all, maybe, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of souls may have some difficulty, but that's not going to impede their desire, their flaming heart desire to move through, to connect to the left-hand path and to make the leap. Most of the souls that are ready and saying, I am ready for ascension, and are ready in their heart and mind and consciousness to do so, despite the gravity drag on them from the left path, they are going to make the leap. There will be a small fraction at the last moment that will say, oh my God, no, I can't leave this. This is home, can't leave. But those souls are ones who, when they made the commitment to go into the to go into the right-handed path, on some level of their being, subconsciously or whatever, they made that commitment, but there was a big but, B-U-T, not the other kind. And that but said, but you know what? maybe at the last minute, I have the right to change my mind. Yes, I do. They had a little bit of doubt there about really wanting to do that because they had a lot of good things here that they wanted to stay connected to. Bad things too, but even the bad things create the drama in their lives that keep them secure. We all have little factors of that, but I'm talking about people that are really enmeshed into that. And yet they had enough cognizance to want to make the path, to want to make the leap. They did, but this other part of them was still very unreconciled with it. So there's a faction of people, of souls, that will have that. But almost, those of you who are listening to this now, I would say probably all of you are really dedicated to moving forward with spiritual higher consciousness. We all do it imperfectly. We all have our moments when we have the drag, when we feel the gravity. But that said, in the final momentum, we will make the leap. And so back to the text. For those who choose the right-handed path, that will be the moment when the TETRAHEDRON is overlaid and activated, and the star tetrahedron will move upward from the solar plexus and into the heart along with the activated TETRAHEDRON. Now the Ein star tetrahedron becomes the Urtet, the full-blown ascension vehicle comprised of the Isis I tetrad wed to the star tetrahedron, which started out as the Ein, yes. Again, remember, all of this is taking place very rapidly, and as a result of the whole sequencing, starting with the Star of David being placed around the body and then expanding into a star tetrahedron by the Orahim vehicles of light, which then becomes the Ein after the 7 miracles of light have been integrated at the physical etheric level in the Urtet as the entire dynamic shifts gears to a new octave and moves up from the solar plexus to the heart center. Now, I know that's a lot to take in, and I can't even follow it all, but it's something to realize that with all of my Mysterium teachings, or THOTH rather, and especially this, something like this, it's necessary. Yes, you touch it with your mind, and there's certain things that remain in your consciousness of it, but it's essentially a heart gathering mission where the mind engages the heart in a way that is the heart mind that is largely the one that is receptive to what is being delivered here. So don't get too caught up in trying to figure out where the shin bone's connected. Just allow it to flow through. And this is a presentation that you probably, if you're serious about really aligning to it, would want to listen to more than once. But you don't have to take notes and memorize everything. It's just a matter of receiving, in-breathing it. In the final summarization of the TETRAHEDRON, the 2 phases of the dynamic are the Isis I areopax first forming through the solar plexus, and the Isis I areopax then moving up to and quickening in the heart along with the Ein. So simply broken down, that's what it's all about. Once both phases of the TETRAHEDRON have been completed, the 8th and 9th miracles are then also brought into expression within the subtle body, and the Urtet is then fully active, which allows the physical body within it to be absorbed into light and transported through the Ascension gate. We must understand that the 7 miracles of light are steps to manifestation of the mandate of the violet flame for the unification of the fallen human form soul with the pure Adam Kadmon. They are true miracles because they are part of the dispensation offered to the current earth and her human races by the Lord Michael. Without the miracles of light or their parent, the mandate of the violet flame, the earth and its children would vanish as evolved God aspects and have to be reborn in another universe through the primal patterns of evolution inherent there. What Thoth is really saying is that, in the process of ascension, when some are left behind, it's only a temporary left behind. They're going back to a previous evolutionary stage that is comfortable to their soul, or their soul as it incarnates evolution. However, if the whole gizmatch was wiped away, in other words, without the miracles of light or their parent, the mandate of the violet flame, this dispensation, this whole field of experience that we are living here would completely be erased. Not only the field itself, but as God evolved aspects, we would be resorted, shall we say, and placed into an entirely different universal field that would be very subliminal. It would be down into the primal state, and we'd have to start all over again. So it's different from just not making the grade this time around. We would have a longer process of resubstantiation. Whereas those on the earth field that are just, not choosing to go through the portal at this time, they're still going to get there, but they're going to have to go down a notch and kind of work through up again. And that sounds like a long time, I know, but that's through our linear thinking. This other thing, I'm kind of being corrected by Thoth as I speak about it here, is not about time. When I say, oh, it takes so long in this other universe, no, it's not really about time, because time is a no thing outside of the field of reference that we call linear time. But it has to do with changing whole evolutionary stances. And those who have given us this dispensation do not wish to see that happen, not only for our sakes, but for the whole program of life that they are facilitating. I say this is the conclusion of this presentation, and it is, but it's certainly not the conclusion of the topic of the 7 miracles of light and all its attendant factors and systems. I feel that I need to do more here with this, but I don't know what it is right now, or that I'm even capable of doing it. So for now, this is the conclusion. We'll see what happens next. So I wish to thank you so much for being my companions in light as I took this journey into the 7 miracles of light. Thank you for listening.